What's up, guys? Nintendo Nick here, and welcome back to our Top 10 Tuesday. Today I'm going to be discussing the top 10 upcoming Nintendo games. Now, these games can vary from the 3DS to the Switch, and they are games coming out for 2017 and also for 2018. Most of these games will be the games that were announced at E3, while some were not announced at E3 or are coming later on, but were not shown at E3 in general. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna be ranking them by the games that I feel like have a lot of content to them. Ports may be a little bit lower on the list, while new games will be on the top of the list. So with that, let's go ahead and start with number 10. At number 10, we have Pokken Tournament DX. Now, this is a port of a Wii U game, which is a Pokemon fighting game, which I had a lot of fun with on the Wii U. And it looks like that Pokken Tournament DX will include the DLC characters from the arcade version, like Darkrai and Apollyon. Plus, I think there was a few more new ones, like Tsui, and I think there will be also some new support Pokemon that will be like 7th gen, and that will be pretty cool. And there's also, I think, some new stages too. So it's not really a port, but there are some new things to it, so it'll make it feel like a little bit more of a brand new game. We don't know if there's going to be like a new story, or if it's just going to be like the Dark Mewtwo like in the Wii U version, but even if that is still in the Switch version, it's still pretty cool. And to be able to play it handheld mode, and be able to play it with your friend right next to you with the two Joy-Cons. And I don't really know how it's going to work, because there are a lot of different moves and different buttons for the Wii U version. I don't know how you're supposed to do it on one single Joy-Con, but it still is cool to have that and be able to play with the friend right next to you. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with Pokken Tournament, and hopefully Pokken Tournament DX, which is coming I think sometime September, will be just as fun. Anyway, on to number 9. At number 9, we have Fire Emblem Warriors. Now, this game is kind of a sequel, or a different version of Hyrule Warriors, which is a Dynasty Warriors type of game. And just like in Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, it'll kind of be similar, with like a hack and slash play type of game, and but with Fire Emblem Warriors. And it'd be really cool to see, and I do like the characters that have been announced. But the reason I have it so low on the list at number 9 is because it is very similar to Hyrule Warriors. There is a bit of a different story, obviously, because it's Fire Emblem characters, and there will be Fire Emblem characters, but so far we really haven't seen that many Fire Emblem characters in this game, and I kind of worry, like, there really aren't many that we have announced, and yet we already have 2 trailers for the game. So it's kind of worrying, and it's supposed to come out in the fall, similar to Hyrule Warriors, where it came out in September. So I don't really know. There's not really much that was talked about in this game in E3 or at the Switch presentation, so we don't really know much about this game, and that's why I'm not really hyped up for this upcoming Fire Emblem Warriors on the Switch. But it'd be pretty cool to play on the Switch overall. So yeah, on to number 8. At number 8, we have the new Yoshi game announced for the Switch at E3. And it looks pretty cool. It has the same art style as Yoshi's Woolly World, plus a little bit of a paper effect, kind of like Paper Mario, and it looks really good. And it's pretty cool too, like that yarn effect. And we had it on the Wii, starting with Kirby's Epic Yarn, and then we had it with Yoshi's Woolly World on the Wii U, and now we have it on the Switch with this new Yoshi game. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I absolutely loved Yoshi's Woolly World. But I'm a little bit worried because we had Yoshi's Woolly World a couple years ago. Or actually, I think it was just 1 year ago. And then we also had Yoshi's Woolly World on the 3DS, which adds some new levels. So I'm a little bit worried that maybe they won't have they maybe ran out of ideas, but they do have some cool concepts, and it looks like it's a bit different than Yoshi's Woolly World, with a bit new mechanics and also the paper effect instead of the yarn effect. So yeah, it looks really cool, and can't wait to play it. I think it's coming out in 2018. So with that said, let's go on to number 7. At number 7, we have the new Kirby game announced for the Switch at E3. Now this Kirby game looks really cool, and it reminds me of Kirby 64 with being able to combine abilities, and I really like Kirby 64. So with that, you have a ton of abilities by combining them, and it looks like some new abilities too, or some returning abilities like the water ability and the cleaning ability. And I also like that it's 4-player multiplayer, and you can, even if you don't have any friends, you can actually team up with CPUs too. I also like that some of the bosses are a bit more tougher, like that Wispy Woods fight that we saw, which dropped a bunch of apples, and it looks pretty hard, to be honest, which I kind of like, because Kirby games are kind of easy, so having it a bit difficult is fine by me. And yeah, it looks like a really good Kirby game. The visuals are good, the levels look creative, and I really do like the environments and stuff, and it really looks like a really good Kirby game, and it looks like it is going to add to the bunch of Kirby games that we have for its 25th anniversary. So that's why it's at number 7. Anyway, on to number 6. At number 6, we have Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Now this is a really weird game, and I don't know who came up with the idea of combining Mario and Rabbids, but it doesn't look bad. Like the game, I've seen gameplay of it, the just the whole gameplay and the visuals and how it just looks like it's a Mario game, but like with a bit of comedy with the Rabbids, and it looks really cool, and the fighting style looks really cool too, and unique, and I'd definitely give it a try if I do have the time. And it's coming out in August, so that's pretty soon, and I really am looking forward to it. I probably won't get it day one, but it looks very interesting and cool, and I would definitely get it probably for like Christmas or something like that. And yeah, it just looks like a unique type of game that, even though it's a weird concept, it looks like it might work, and it might actually be a pretty good game. But with that said, that's why it's at number 6. On number 5. At number 5, we have Splatoon 2. Now this got announced back at the Switch presentation back in January, and it's coming out very, very soon, being in July 21st. And it looks like it's not just a port. There is a completely new single-player campaign. There are some new modes like Salmon Run, new weapons, completely new weapons. All the special weapons are completely new, and looks like there's new gear and a bunch of other new stuff like maps, and there might be other new modes too. But yeah, with all that, it looks really good, and they're also adding new stuff, because apparently we're having a Switch Direct tomorrow, or a Splatoon 2 Direct tomorrow, and they're adding even more stuff to the game. So, and there'll probably be some DLC too, just like in Splatoon 1. And it's looking to be a great game. It's really awesome to play it on the go. The test fire was great, and just being able to play it on the go looks really cool. Like maybe I can just have my phone as like a hotspot and just play multiplayer, or I could just play single player, and it'd just be awesome to play it on the go. And like I said, it looks pretty fun, unique, and there's some new gameplay elements, and yeah, I just can't wait till it comes out. So that's number 5, and let's go on to number 4. At number 4, we have Metroid Samus Returns. Now this was announced back at the Treehouse at E3, and is going to be on the 3DS. And it's basically just a remake of the second game, being Samus 2, or Metroid 2, The Return of Samus. Instead, it's called Samus Returns. And it looks really cool, and I absolutely loved the fan-made game, which was AM2R, which which is another Metroid 2 remake, which turned out really well, and they added a bunch of new stuff. And hopefully Nintendo will do the same thing with their version of Metroid 2 remake. And yeah, so far what I've seen at the treehouse, it looks really good. The new counterattack makes things a lot more different. And I absolutely loved Metroid 2. It's like one of my favorite Metroid games, and it's very underrated. In my opinion, I feel like it's the most underrated Metroid game. And yeah, so far it looks really good, and can't wait to get it in September. I forget the exact date, but it's coming out very soon, and can't wait for it. Anyway, that's number 4. On to number 3. At number 3, we have Super Mario Odyssey. Now, this was back announced at the Nintendo presentation back in January, and we knew very little about it. But then at E3, we learned a lot from it, and also got a release date, which was October 20 something. I forget the exact date, but it looks really cool. And at the E3 trailer, we got confirmation that Mario's hat is able to possess the different enemies, which looks really cool. And also you're able to customize Mario with different outfits and go to a bunch of different new worlds, which look really cool. And we got a lot of gameplay from the treehouse, and also some information about the story, and it looks really, really good. The only problem that I really have with it is that I don't really like the type of game where you have this just giant open world and you have to like find the moon coins, which are the things that you collect yourself, instead of like doing level by level, but instead you have to kind of find them. But other than that, like, the trailer was very surprising. Start off with a giant dinosaur and Mario pops out from it, and it was just really weird, but it works well though, being able to possess enemies. And what I've seen so far, the gameplay, it looks really cool, and I can't wait till it comes out in October. So that's why it's at number 3. On to number 2. At number 2, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now, we first got confirmation of this game back at the Switch presentation back in January, and we didn't get really to see much about it, and the voice acting was in Japanese, so we didn't really get much of the story either. But in E3, they started it with the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 trailer, and it looked fantastic. The visuals, I like the art style, I like the gameplay, what they showed at E3. The voice acting looked really good. The characters were well designed. The graphics were really good, especially for handheld, and having this on a handheld looks really, really good. And I absolutely love Xenoblade Chronicles 1 on the Wii, and hopefully the same thing I have the same feelings for this game. And X didn't really have that big of a story, but it still was a great game. And even if this was similar to X, where the story wasn't that good but the gameplay was good, or if it's a combination of both, then it would be even better. But this game looks to be really good, and what I've heard so far of the music and the gameplay, what I've seen, it looks all really good, and I really can't wait to play it. And I can't believe it's being released on holiday, which I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe it will be rushed, which hopefully that's not the case, but hopefully they put a lot of effort into this game, because Xenoblade Chronicles are usually a lot of content, and hopefully this isn't anything different. But what we've seen so far looks really good, and hopefully when the game gets released in holiday, it will look even better, and the content will be just as big as X and the first game on the Wii. And hopefully the characters and the voice acting and the story are all just as good as the first one, and the gameplay is just as good as X. I absolutely love both of those games, and if they combine them together, they'll make just a perfect game. So yeah, I'm really hyped up for this game, so that's why it's at number 2. Anyway, on to number 1. At number 1, we have Metroid Prime 4. Now, this was announced at E3, and once it came up on the screen, everyone went crazy. And me, myself, I went crazy too. This is a great sign for Nintendo, and it's a great sign for Metroid too, because Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 were great games, and Metroid Prime 4 will probably be the same. And like I said, the Prime trilogy was great, and we don't really know what's going to happen with Metroid Prime 4 because it's not being developed by the same people, which was Retro Studios. Instead, I think Nintendo is just making it, or some other team, and we don't know really what's going to happen with it. We haven't seen any gameplay, but just the confirmation itself was just great, because Metroid was basically a dead franchise, and everyone thought it was dead and that Nintendo wasn't going to make a new game, but instead they came out with Metroid Prime 4, and they said that it's being in development for the Switch. And this is big because this basically just gives hope for other franchises to be revived, like F-Zero and the Mother series and other great franchises to be kind of revived, and that it shows that Nintendo is kind of looking out for their fans, and they're seeing what the fans kind of want, and they saw that people wanted Metroid Prime 4, and so at E3 they gave us basically what we wanted, which was a great sign. Also, we're getting the other Metroid game, like I said, as number 4, being Metroid Samus Returns, and both of them we're getting 2 Metroid games, just showing that Metroid is not dead, and like I said, this is hope for other Nintendo franchises, and that's why it's at number 1. And after this game gets released, maybe other games will be revived just like Metroid. But anyway, with that said, that is my top 10 upcoming Nintendo games. So thank you guys all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Top 10 Tuesdays right here on Nick. Bye.